Let's learn to draw Gengar. So the first thing that we need is an idea. So we want to draw, this is the only Gengar card that I have. I don't want to draw them like that. Maybe a little bit more direct. So something, a mix of this and this, but we'll do it the easy way. I'll show you how to do it the very easy way. So let's get some supplies. First you need your favorite paper, favorite pencil. I like to use the POSCA markers, so I've already grabbed white, gray, purple, red, and my black is around here somewhere. There's black. We definitely use those colors. So let's get started. So one of the things I like to do is I like to make it about the size of a card. So grab an old code card, use a code card, so if you accidentally like trace around it and you get it on don't do this to a good Pokemon card that you have. So I'm going to very lightly trace this to give me an outline, but I'm not necessarily going to stay in the lines on this one, and you'll see why towards the end. So we're going to start with that, and we're just going to use our pencil. And you know that, if you look at this picture of Gengar here, he's mostly a circle, and he's got leg, arm on the other side, ear, and then the face. So let's just start with that. Let's make a big circle that almost takes up the whole, about like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, just about. And we know that he has one hand, comes out over here, and he's just kind of he's got like some rough edges, so we can just make some rough edges. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to put an arm out here and just make some squigglies like that kind of look like an arm. And then his other arm is over here. So I'm going to do the same thing, make an arm like this, and maybe some rough edges like that, kind of an idea. Now, his legs are a little bit more roundy, but most Pokemon characters are like that. So I'm going to draw kind of like a roundy top of his leg, and then it kind of comes down to an ankle, and then, it's got a foot with 3 toes, kind of. Just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the idea. And his body actually comes to a little bit of a pointy area, so I'll kind of do like that at the bottom of his body. Maybe that's part of his tail too. And then his leg, let's do that style of leg where he's kind of like kicking at us. So his leg, so it's going to be a similar circle-y shape like that, kind of like that. And then his foot, well, let's get the bottom of his foot. It's got the 3 toes, kind of like that. So that kind of looks like that foot's coming this way, kicking at us, and that one's kind of behind us. And then he's got kind of messy hair. So let's put a couple pointy things like that. And then we'll make this ear kind of come out like this a little bit. And this ear maybe point up a little more like this towards the screen like this. And then his eyes, let's look at his eyes. His eyes are kind of like pointy down, and he's got a big mouth. So let's do, okay, that's about the center. If you need to like line it up, we're gonna make a very light mark to get his eyes kind of even-ish. And we'll do that for his eyes, and then they're kind of mean, so they point down like this a little bit. And then do another one like that over here, kind of pointing down, about like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, and when we pen it and paint it, we can change it up a little bit. And then, since we're the Rabid Pikachus, we're going to have a different kind of mouth, but Gengar's mouth is already kind of rough, so let's just sketch in kind of a big mouth where the mouth's going to go. So that's where we're going to start, and then I'm going to that's where we're going to stop the pencil sketch. So we like, that's a good start. Pretty easy. So I like this Tombow soft tip brush. It says soft tip right there. You can use any pen. You can use a pencil if you want to. You can just go darker, but I'm going to use this. And now I'm going to start to do a little more, but with a little more accuracy. So let's go over about what we did. And we're going to get his body kind of like this, kind of loops down like that, and then this leg is going to come towards us, so we're not going to trace the body part here. We're going to leave the leg. So let's go ahead and just get that leg. Kind of like this. And then let's get his foot. I'm going to do it in pen just a little lower, like this. And then we'll keep going around with his body. And this arm we're going to make in front. So again, we're going to stop his body line, and then we're going to put this arm kind of coming out like this. And it can be like rough little edges. And the rest of his arm comes out like this. Now his body's still rough, so we can make a little rough like this. And then this ear points out like that. And then he's got some rough, we'll just call it his hairs. They could be in different directions. Like he didn't comb his hair today. And then this ear is going to come over here and kind of like that a little bit. Okay, and then this arm is behind his body. So we'll make sure that his arm is like this. It's got kind of maybe 3 fingers, or maybe just fuzzy end like that. And then let's do the outline of his eyes. I'm going to do this just a little light. And again, because we're the Rabid Pikachus, we'll have some fun at the end. And get his other eye, kind of curvy, starts as a circle, but then it kind of does like pointy at the end like that. Then I'm not going to do the mouth yet. Let's get this leg, kind of comes out like this, like a big thigh, and then his leg goes a little lower, and then get that foot with 3 toes like that. Let's do it like that. Okay, so now I'm going to grab a purple marker, or the purple POSCA marker, and let's start making him, let's start in his hair. We'll start filling in the hair, just like a little rough like this. And then his ear. Get that painted in. And remember, just have fun. Doesn't have to be perfect. Do this ear now. Sometimes people have different size POSCA markers. So if you have the next size up, then this coloring can go just a little bit faster. I'm going to get his arm like this. I'm going to leave a little bit of space here because I might do a highlight right in between his body and his arm. So I'll try to leave a little bit of white right there. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Make this arm just, it could be rough right here. Maybe a little bit longer. And then this arm, switch over to here. And we'll do his leg next. Fill that in the best you can. You can leave white, that's all right. Or you can spend a little extra time and get it all the way filled in. And then get his foot, like that. And then the bottom of his foot, let's think about how we want to do that. I want it a little bit of a different color. Should we do gray or black? What would you do? Would you do gray or would you do black? I think I'm going to do gray. So we'll grab the gray when we get over to his foot. I'm going to do a little more of his body. Leave room around his eyes for the special thing that we're going to do in a little while. Let's paint him up. I'm not quite going to do his mouth area yet. I'm going to get close to his mouth area. Under his eye over here. Almost to his mouth. And then get back over to this eye. And try to get all of this. Fill that in. Is POSCA your favorite kind of marker, or do you use something else? You can leave it in the comments. Or do you like colored pencil? Sometimes colored pencil is fun to work with. Sometimes alcohol markers are fun to work with. Alcohol markers fill in spaces really, really quickly. So I'm going to do a little bit more on the side of his body over here, down toward the bottom of his body. Now let's get to the fun part, because we are the Rabid Pikachus. I'm going to do his eyes red. I'm going to do all of that whole eye. Look at that already. Those eyes just pop, pop, pop. I'm going to get that bottom circle part and then back into the pointy part and switch over to his other eye. And we'll let that dry a little bit. Sometimes on the POSCA marker you get little tiny bits of ink or paper. That's okay. You can always have a piece of paper towel or scrap paper next to you. You can wipe it off. That's just what happens sometimes. All right, and let's do Gengar's mean mouth. It definitely has a mean mouth. So let's get, again, the black marker, whatever you like, and I'm just going to make it rough and squiggly like this, kind of big, and not like he has teeth, but just like it's rough. And this, I'm going to come down like this, and then I'm going to go one more time over and make it just a little bit wider. And notice how I'm using the pen kind of laying down flat instead of straight up and down. It gives me a little more different kind of thicker line. So you can try that too sometimes. So I'm going to do this. And since I have the black out, oh, I said I was going to try gray. I'm going to do this outline just a little more on his foot, a little bit thicker like that, and then I'll get the gray next. All right, put this down, and then I'll get the gray POSCA marker, and we'll do his bottom of his foot just for something different. Is the bottom of your foot gray like this? Probably not. Okay, we're done with the bottom of his foot. And now what I want to do is I'm going to do a little more purple, because it seems like I got a little bit too much white. So I'll spend another minute here, just a moment, fill in some of those little white spots, and then we'll come back in a little bit and finish his mouth up. But we're going to do something special, Rabid Pikachu style. All right, that's probably good for now. A little more here. All right, and do we need, let's do what we like to do and put some gray in the mouth, just to make him a little rougher. And then when we finally add the white, those contrasts will make it really, really pop. So I'm going to come back, I'm going to do a little more, just a little like messy, like the black is kind of dripping out, getting on him a little bit, splashing on his foot, starting to come down here. Okay, and now since I have the black out, I'm going to go ahead and make little tiny black dots on his eyes, because this is the way that Jacob made the original Rabid Pikachu. So dot, 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 like that. And since I have the black out, I'm going to do a little tiny bit of shading with the black on his body. Just I'm going to touch the black POSCA in some places, like the bottom of his body's not getting any light. So the bottom of his arms aren't getting light. The bottom of his ears aren't really getting light. So we can make that a little bit darker. Bottom of this ear is not really getting light. Let's see what else. Like this leg, kind of like right here, might not be getting light. And just to make it a different, let's do like this and see how that turns out. And then once more, let's come over here to this part of his body, and maybe a little bit of the bottom of his leg here. That adds a little bit of shape and depth to Gengar. All right, Now let's switch to white, and we're going to do little tiny dots of white in his eyes, again for that contrast, because it looks a little more fun. And then, rah, put a little bit of white in his mouth and around, like he's just angry. And but it's kind of like he's slobbering. That's okay. And then it splashes down here, down to his leg. And maybe we'll add a little bit of purple down there. Splashy, splashy, splashy. All right, let's get a little more purple right here at the bottom of his body, just so there's contrast. And now I'm gonna do this around his eyes just to make sure that we get really, really good popping from those eyes, because we want those to almost like glow. And that's how it does it. That's how you get it. The dark colors contrasted with the white, and it's almost like it glows. So a little more purple here, a little more purple here. It almost looks like he's got fur, which, yeah, kind of does. Let's get that a little bit better, like this. And then the one thing, so if you have these Tombow watercolor pens, let me teach you how to make a shadow underneath them, and it's almost like the character pops out of the page. So I grabbed a medium one, this is 65, and then we're gonna go underneath his body like this and make a little bit of shadow all around like this, which it makes it look like he's, really there. Let me get those lines a little bit straighter like this. And we'll fill that in a little bit like this. And then I'm going to grab another gray, which is a little bit darker. And make that shadow like right underneath his body even darker. So we come in here. Doesn't have to be nice and neat or anything. And then just make it so that the shadow is just a little bit darker underneath, and maybe like right under his foot too. A little more. Now watch this. Watch this. We're going to get the white again. And then we'll just make it so that all that white is like pooling underneath him. Like he really is making a problem on the ground. Like it's been here for a while. Like it drippy. Like this. And it's okay if a little bit of that purple comes out, because he is purple. I'm going to come back up here. A little more here. Now I'm going to get the black. Actually, let me get the black POSCA. Get the black POSCA. Get this a little bit more drippy again, like it's pooling here also. And you don't have to be nice and neat. You could just make a little bit of mess. And that really is how Gengar looks. So, if you want to make a little more highlights, so remember how we added the black, like the light's not getting underneath his ears, the light's not getting underneath his arms. So let's get white, and we'll go where a little bit of light might be getting. So we'll make a little highlight like here at the top of his arm, and a little bit of highlight here at the top of his arm. Same with his ear here, maybe a little more light's getting here, and then the same with this right there. And then maybe a couple little tiny bits of his hair gets some light on it, and maybe this part of his leg and his toes maybe get a little bit of light, and definitely these toes that are facing the light, and maybe like right there. And that's really all you have to do to make it pop just a little bit. Now one thing that I see here is that we got too much white around his eye. So let's go around his eye one more time with our black pen. And again, it doesn't have to be nice and neat. It can be a little bit rough and messy, just to make those red eyes glow. There you go. See how much difference that makes, but just going around the eye one more time. Just like that. I can even make that point down a little more to really show that he's angry. Roar. Just like that. Okay, and I'm going to leave that. So let me now show you. Remember at the beginning where we only really easily put the pencil in? I'm going to get my black liner, and you should wait just a minute to let some of those colors dry. I have a fan on, so it helps my stuff dry a little bit quickly. So watch what I do here. I'm going to put this card right back down about where I had it, and watch how cool this looks if I just keep the lines and I don't see. I made that mistake right there, and that's okay because I'm using a code card and not one of my good cards. But make the line like this and then stop anytime Gengar peeks through. So I'm going to stop right there and then continue over here, and it's fine if the shadow comes around, and then right here his foot pokes out a little bit. I'm going to come around there, and then I'm going to get to the other side of his foot. I'm going to keep tracing the card, keep tracing, get to that arm and stop, skip over to the other side of the arm, stop, get to his ear. Now watch. Look at how cool that looks. It's almost like he's popping out of the card. And I'm going to show you one more cool thing. If you get your marker like this and you trace, so we're going to choose these bottom two edges, and we're just going to use it kind of flat, and we're going to make an even shadow like underneath the card. Actually, I'm going to try to get it right to there too. Make it even, try to get it right next to the line like that. I'm going to go over it again just to see if we can get it just like that. And I'm going to come here to the bottom of the card here, do the exact same thing. Come across and follow that line. And now, if you get it to curve like that, it almost looks like that is a real card popping out of the page. And you can use this to give to your best friend who likes Gengar, collects Gengar. You can use it as a prize card when you guys are playing the game Pokemon. And I want to thank you, everyone here at the Rabid Pikachus. Thanks you for watching, and we hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.